Earlier this year, an animated movie became massively successful in China and a legit phenomenon over there. It became the country's highest grossing film, is currently the highest grossing animated film of all time, and even has the record for the biggest gross for a film in a single territory. It's remarkable what Zha II was able to achieve, which has only fueled curiosity on this side of the world. It did get a North American release earlier this year, but now it's back in theaters with an English language dub produced by A24. So what did I think of the continuing adventures of this young troublemaker with demonic powers? Well, I feel I should probably mention what I thought of the first Zha movie. I found the strongest, most enjoyable aspect of the movie came from the title character himself. I liked that he was hot-headed and temperamental rather than the typical young hero we might see, and the filmmakers gave him plenty of personality. The animators did a lot of impressive things in showcasing his powers and with the fight choreography. What did hold me back was the humor, which often relied on toilet jokes, and they did not quite land with me. I also found myself exhausted after a while, especially during the climax. Overall, I thought it was okay, while still understanding the significance it held with Chinese viewers. I put all that in the back of my mind, though, when watching the sequel and treated it like a new experience. And yet, my opinion stayed about the same, with some additional strengths and weaknesses. Like the first movie, I thought the best part involved Zha. He continues to be a fun character with his attitude and excitement of doing certain activities, and we also see the rage he feels about the way he's treated and looked at by others. There's an interesting partnership he now forms with Ao Bing, the Dragon Prince. Ao Bing occupies Zha's body, and the movie uses a device where he takes full control through the use of sleeping pills. That allows for an intriguing dynamic, especially during a few of the fight scenes when they switch back and forth. A scene where they battle some marmot demons is a particular highlight. The fight choreography is very impressive here, with the scenes having a lot of energy, and again, because of the current predicament the two main characters are in, we see Zha's body utilizing different approaches. The sequel further expands on the relationship between Zha and his mother, and I thought that was nicely handled here. Zha II still retains some of the toilet humor of the first movie, including one long scene focused entirely around Zha needing to urinate and then the aftermath of that. However, there was less of that type of comedy this time around, and there were quite a few jokes that made me laugh. The movie does a number of creative things with the storytelling too. I think a particularly clever moment is when we circle back to a scene where it cut just before the aftermath, providing further context and explanation for what happened. The animation is spectacularly done, with director Zha II and the several animation studios who worked on Zha II putting out all the stops for the battle sequences. And while some characters are made to look more cartoony than others, like Zha and his mentor, they still fit well together and given a lot of expression and emotions. Now, I should mention you can fit my entire knowledge of Chinese mythology onto a postage stamp, and this movie is steeped in mythology. The film is obviously intended for a Chinese audience first and foremost, and I actually respect they did not try to water things down to appeal to an international audience. From what I understand, Zha is a very well-known character in Chinese culture, and particularly popular with children who grow up knowing about him and seeing previous adaptations. I guess he's sort of the equivalent of classic Western literary characters like Peter Pan or Pinocchio, where even if you've not read the original source material, there's still a decent amount of familiarity with them and what they're all about. So it would not make sense for Zha II to explain the whole deal about the character and his world to Chinese viewers, even though this film apparently adds new elements. With that said, this movie throws a lot at the audience. It is constantly introducing new characters we have to follow, with all sorts of demons, dragons, and other mythological beings making their way into the story. And it does get to be overwhelming at a certain point. There's even a good amount of time when Zha is off-screen as other elements took over the narrative. This is a pretty basic good versus evil story, so I never had trouble following the movie. There are just so many things going on and characters to follow, and not every subplot engaged me. The final battle sequence was especially exhausting as it goes on for a while, and the screen becomes filled with characters, all the while trying to balance the emotional aspects with the action and other elements. Zha II runs 2 hours and 24 minutes, and I did eventually feel the length. I watched the English dubbed version, which I did feel had some lip syncing issues. It's obvious this is not the original language track, and the mouths only occasionally matched up. The voice actors do a more than commendable job, though. Michelle Yeoh is the most recognizable name in the dub, but I also heard Eric Bauza's voice as one of the Marmot Demons, with him even slipping a bit of Daffy Duck in there. I just wish they'd slightly tweak the sound mixing just a tad to better fit the mouth movements, because it took me a little while to get accustomed to it. Overall, I appreciate Zha II more than I necessarily liked it. The scope of the production is remarkable. Zha is a strangely endearing little troublemaker, and there's a worthwhile message here about working together. But I did feel myself getting exhausted by everything that happens in the movie, and having to keep track of all the different demons and gods and monsters that populate this world. Nonetheless, it's easy to see why Zha II became so enormously popular in China, and is an example of the growth of the animation industry over the past number of years.